Good morning. Good morning. What is up, folks? How is everybody doing this morning? JTW here coming at you with another FOMO live stream. Apologies that I was not feeling up to the task on Tuesday. I woke up with a crazy migraine that I just could not, I just couldn't concentrate. I sat down, was getting ready to, try to push through for the live stream, and I was just like, I don't think I can hold together a thought long enough to make this worth anybody's time this morning. So I decided to bail last minute. My apologies for that. Typically, I would like to, give some more advance notice or let you guys know somehow, prior to that we may not have a live stream session on a particular day. But if you're wake up with a migraine, that's impossible to predict. So anyway, I appreciate everybody's understanding. I am feeling much better. Thanks for all of those who reached out and checked in on me. I do appreciate it. So with that, let's dig in. We've got a limited amount of time, and now I feel like I've got a lot of ground to make up after missing Tuesday's live stream. So let's dig right in. As always, if you guys have any ticker requests, please feel free to go ahead and post those in the chats, whether that be in the Xtrades Discord or on the YouTube side of things, preferably on the YouTube side of things. If you're not currently watching these live streams via our YouTube feed, please take some time to go over there and check that out. Subscribe to the Xtrades YouTube channel, because I am eventually, one of these days, I keep saying that, but I don't want to leave anybody behind. Gonna shift this over to being solely focused on YouTube. At least that's the plan for now. Plans are always, I guess, subject to some change, but that's the direction I think we're trying to head with this. So with that being said, let's dig in. Let's get to some kind of overall market sentiment analysis, and then we'll dig into some trade plan reviews, member selected trade plans from over the weekend, as well as the trade plans that we did last Thursday. And then we'll get into some new trade plans. I see unknown reviews here bright and early this morning along with Strife. Good morning, folks. Hope everybody's doing well. If you guys are here and listening in, feel free to say what's up, say good morning. Would love to hear from you. We've got one request already for Mongo databases plural. I mean, I guess they're doing multiple databases, but MDB is the ticker from unknown reviews. Hint, hint. I'm guessing that there is an earnings report right around the corner or today. We did get some economic data this morning with regards to jobless claims. Those do come out every Thursday. We also had PMI, or we have PMI, I'm sorry, coming up at 9:45 this morning, as well as ISM services PMI. That's going to be a pretty significant data point coming out at 10 o'clock this morning, so keep that in mind when it comes to how quickly or how early into the day you're looking to enter trades. Generally speaking, I don't personally get into a lot of stuff, or at least not too heavy, prior to 10 o'clock. But today there's a specific reason to probably wait until 10 o'clock and see kind of what the market does from a reaction standpoint. So jobless claims came in a little bit lower than the consensus and the previous reading. So we are definitely in a good news is good news environment at the moment. So that has seen a little bit of an uptick on ES here. Again, slightly lower on jobless claims. That's good. But I think the big data point today, and we probably will see some chop and some consolidation and just sort of low volume tentative trading until that 10 o'clock data comes out with the ISM services PMI. So let's get into what we're seeing here on ES. A couple of things have happened since our last live stream. We did lose a pretty large demand zone down in this range that we were bouncing out of pretty nicely. We had a couple of tests of it, I believe right here and here were those two tests. Nice bounces out of that after it was established. But we've again since lost that with some of the sell-off that we've seen this week. Things kind of coming down fairly steeply, and from what I've seen, at least the couple of days that I've been able to pay close attention, which after having a migraine and a holiday this week, it kind of feels like my whole week is just shot to hell for some reason. But anyway, We do have the supply zone, new supply zone overhead. Things have flipped bearish here from a Neptune standpoint on the hourly chart. Looks like we're trying to hold some higher lows at least off this most recent low yesterday. So keep an eye on that. I would say if we lose that low, and probably even a better number to look at would be like 5,500. If we lose that, we could see a bigger pullback, probably down to the bottom of this next demand zone. So somewhere around 54.46 might be a good place to look for longs. This is looking a little bit like a bearish pennant at the moment, but just because it's in that kind of a chart pattern doesn't necessarily mean that that chart pattern gets validated and plays out to the downside. So, we'll keep that on watch. But overall, things looking definitely rocky, a little bit overextended to the downside, but possibly finding a bounce as long as we hold that 5,500 level, and if not there, 54.46 would be another spot that I would look to potentially buy the dip. 54.46 definitely the better of those levels, and the one that I will personally wait for with regards to trying to catch some of this falling knife action that we've seen so far this week. All right, so let's get into data release Friday morning. Which day? Oh, is that you mean for MDB, Ryan? All right, so let's get into some trade plan reviews, and then let's get to some new trade plans. We had member selected trade plans over the weekend. NVIDIA was on that list. This one has played out significantly to the downside and then some. I didn't even, bother updating because all the move and then some happened on a day when I was kind of sidelined with that migraine. But we did see the kind of setup that we would normally love to take heading into open. However, I would say that right into the kind of too close to open period of trading, we were already down right at open at PT1 and pretty much to PT3 by the time we closed out that first 15-minute candle of the trading day. So, this was definitely one that I personally, well, A, I was laid up, so I didn't chase, and B, wouldn't have chased just because of the move being kind of so accelerated to the downside that close to the open, going through all of our price targets and then some. At that point, I'm just, I missed the move. I'm willing to accept it and move on to something that is a better setup, and I'm, where the trade is actually coming to me versus me tracing the trade. Oh, God. Chasing the trade. There we go. I heard that come out of my mouth and I was like, what the hell was that? All right. So anyway, we did get a breakdown, back test of the put entry. Ultimately, like I said, has played out significantly to the downside. Also got a break below, back test of PT3 before pushing lower. So, potentially if we're looking for continuation to the downside, and again, I'm not laid up kind of out of commission, that's something where I would start putting together a plan for playing continuation to the downside once we see that break below and back test a PT3 as resistance. But again, I wasn't in a position to do much about it. And again, this trade I think would have just been a chase trying to play downside any time prior to essentially entering preemptively on Friday. Sorry, back here, maybe at this high of the day, test of the key selling pressure on Neptune, call entry resistance when that failed. I guess if you're feeling very bearish on Nvidia, you might look for an entry there, but I certainly did not. I think overall Nvidia is still well positioned for a lot of long-term growth and profitability, and I think ultimately this is going to be one that you should be looking to buy the dip versus sell the rip on it, at least for the time being. So other trade plans that we had from over the weekend, member selected trade plans, Affirm. This one did play out to the downside yesterday. Gave us a break below, back test, push down, hit that 333 SMA or very close to it. That's caused a little bit of a bounce to come in, but seems to be, let me move this out of the way, seems to be breaking below and back testing. Our put entry still here this morning at 40.36. So this could be one to potentially look for an entry on today. One thing I would keep on watch is this 15-minute 333 SMA. I would like to see that flipped from support to resistance before playing this for downside, because clearly it's trying to bounce off that. We've seen it bounce just slightly above and a bounce just slightly below, but bounces happening around and near that 333 SMA. So be a little bit more patient on this one. Let that 333 move itself out of the way and put itself above the price action where it could possibly act as resistance. And then I think we're good to go to continue or to catch a firm for this downside part of the trade plan. Amazon, again, was posted Monday because we had a holiday weekend this weekend. We did see a break below, back test, a little bit of an attempt to push back above as far as the put entry side of things. Ultimately, that did play out during the extended hours trading session down to PT1 and then some. Did give us another back test opportunity, also with Neptune, bearish flag right there. Great rejection confluence setup, breaking down below. Coming back down, trying to test this weekly level at 172.25. Our PT2 hasn't quite fully made it there yet. It looks like we're catching support about 25 cents higher. Me personally, I strive for a little bit more accuracy than that as far as something that's trading in the sub 250 range. So I'll have to take a look at this. Maybe when you're looking at a weekly chart, you are pretty zoomed out. Those levels can be slightly less accurate, but I'll have to take a look at that and see if maybe I just have this level a little bit off, because it does look like there's some nice support coming in about where I think a good PT2 exit would probably be. We're pretty close to it there, but I don't know. Personally, I just like to see it a little bit closer, a little bit more of a clean touch and reaction of that level versus sort of hovering above it the way that it has been. Nutanix, this is another one that we did for our, Amazon, Affirm, NVIDIA. Those were our member selected trade plans. Nutanix was last Thursday's live stream, one of our ticker requests. This one has not really made a move for either of our entries since we did this plan last week. It's kind of been sort of consolidating between the stop loss average down levels for the two plans that we've got in place for it. A break over 63.78 could be, an interesting opportunity to get in and try to catch some upside up to this 66.97 level. I could certainly see that playing out. If you did take that entry, the one adjustment I would make would be, this on the hourly real quick. I just want to see if there's a more reasonable or sensible stop loss. I think that 60.34 is giving it a little too much room, and it could just continue to chop and theta a trade to death if you're not a little bit more strict about the stop loss on this plan. I'd say, yeah, I keep eyeballing. It's probably somewhere around this 62.24 level. Call it 62 just to give it maybe a little bit of extra room. So somewhere right around in here is where I would be setting a stop loss average down if you look for that entry there at 63.78. So just a little bit of food for thought. Mark those levels on your chart. See if we get an entry and we're ready to execute something on that. So Lulu was our last trade plan review that we had lined up for this morning. This was last Thursday's live stream session. This was maybe an unknown reviews request, I would guess. Did this plan Thursday morning. We had earnings report Thursday after hours. Definitely a volatile reaction to that earnings report. Ultimately opened in a drop down to 251.73, held that as support, kind of just bounced between our two levels there. It looks like for that whole day. So you could have played that range between 251.73 and 263.13. So the level's working and working well, just not really giving us anything as far as a confirmed entry from a plan perspective. Lots of bounces actually off that 251.73 weekly support. Just does not want to give up, it seems. But do have the 200 coming down here overhead, adding some confluence with the key selling pressure there on Neptune at 259.55 with a 333 confluence there at 263.13. Certainly could be a short opportunity if we get a test of that with a nice backstop up there at 263.13. So keep that on watch, going short at 259.55 or on a break below 251.73, at which point just execute the plan. It was laid out for you. If you go back to the YouTube recordings from last Thursday, you should be able to see the links or see me talk about these plans. If you're in our Xtrades Discord, these were posted in the options watch lists as we did them Thursday morning pre-market last week. So easy to go back and refer to them there. Just as a reminder, the way we set these plans up, these solid lines, right, are our entry levels. Typically, we'd have this kind of helping guide us the long short positions on the chart as well. But again, entry over this solid line at 263.13. Your dashed lines are your price targets. This thick dotted line is your stop loss average down. You can also, it's a little bit hard to see with Neptune there, but you can also see that here with this long short setup. And then of course, downside entry, downside targets, same stop loss average down. All right, so let's get to some new trade plans here. Unknown Reviews thinks is bearish on Lulu, thinks it's a more of a slow bleed short. So would, in that case, would you buy leap puts or would you just short shares? Or share, is it shortable? And while you are giving me your input on that, Unknown Reviews, let's go to the Mongo database trade plan. Right? It's Mongo database, isn't it? Or am I just making that up? MongoDB. Maybe I just always assumed it was Mongo database. Yeah, it's a database platform, so I'm guessing that's what the DB stands for. I was gonna say, like, I feel like that's what they do, and I thought that was their actually their company name, but I could be wrong. Shorted at 259. Well, it's moving in your favor, man. Good stuff. Excuse me. All right, so let's get to some new trade plans here. This morning, sorry, I had to get a little bit of coffee in there. All right, so it's been a while since I've looked at MDB. Definitely probably want to clean up any levels on this. Let's see, the last trade plan I worked up for it May of this year, so that was quite a while ago. That was before their earnings report that sent them down through all those downside targets and then some. All right, so it's old news. That's for. Sure, I was drawing something that was substantive, but I don't know what it was. This could be that long ago. All right, so let's kind of start from a cleaner chart, at least for now. I'm going to hide my indicators. I'm going to get an idea of what we're looking at from a price action standpoint. Also kind of just get some bigger picture stuff, because I've clearly not done a lot of support and resistance on MDB down here in this range. Got some higher time frame levels, but not a whole lot else. There's clearly support resistance level here. There should be something there, but it's not super clear. I think we are looking at, let's see. Yeah, this is a little stretch of candles I want to see. Yeah, something right about there. All right. So I think that's all we're going to get as far as kind of any additional insights from the weekly chart. Let's see if we have a daily level hanging out around here. Yeah, I think we do. About here. That could be a relevant level to our planning efforts. All right. 298.24. Yeah, this could be a really interesting break level over that 298.24. That could, yeah, I see a lot of stuff that tells me that's probably bringing a pretty big move up here to this next weekly level at 322.51. Over that, what's up, Chris? Good morning to you, brother. How are you? Hope all is well. Thinking about this. It's a second price target. They're at 333.03. Third and final. I say final, at least as far as the trade plan, it could certainly go higher. Goes, yeah, right here, this daily level. So then the question becomes, stop loss average down. Got a big upside move. I don't necessarily want to let it get too far away from our entry, but we're in a weird, not weird, but just an area where big moves happen right above this level. So the question is, where do bounces become a little less likely and we're potentially fighting with resistance? I'm kind of looking at this 289.86 level. I want to check this against some of this more recent price action. Yeah, I like that as a stop loss. So that would be our upside trade plan. Downside, 273.53. We've got some rejections a little bit lower. 272 could be a good psychological level as well. I don't know. It's a little, there's a lot of dip buying that happens in that range. I think I would want to wait. We're kind of splitting hairs a little bit. I would want to see 272 out of the way. See, these little dips that get bought right in this range, though, is what's kind of got me pausing on just fully sending this trade plan for the downside, but maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe we need to be looking for a little bit of an earlier entry. We can treat that as a price target. Sorry, I know I'm getting a little hung up on this one, but I want to make sure we're doing these plans correctly. This price action is just a little unpredictable or just not consistent in this range that I'm kind of looking at for potential put entries, and so that's throwing me off a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Also maybe a little bit rusty, having had a long weekend followed by a day off for a migraine. I don't think I'm that rusty. 279.15. I think we need to look for an earlier entry because we're going to get caught potentially by support just below 272, in which case, you know, we're getting into a plan just to get stopped out real quick. Yeah, I think it's going to look like this. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm not fully in love with that level either. delete it. Okay. So I think we could take a shot below 286.30. Set the stop here. So we'll kind of have a little bit of overlap with our stops. Target I'm looking at is right around here, this 266.90. I'm going to make sure that that's going to have not, yeah, 260. Yeah, yep. I know it's kind of a tight first price target, but I think I've already over-explained that the price action just looks a little wonky down in this range. I don't have a more technical word for it. Maybe wonky is technical. Below 256.89. I think we're looking at kind of thinking this 246 level, but let's vet this real quick. Let's go back through this recent price act. Yeah, yep, I'm good with that. Okay, cool. Sorry, I know that took a sec, but I believe it will have been worth the wait. And while I'm wrapping this up, if you guys have more ticker requests, trade plan requests, go ahead, drop those in the chat. You especially, Chris. Love to find the banger setups. Chris G. Xtrades. I call you Xtrades Mater D extraordinaire. All right. So, I'm on a losing streak, man. Punished for not joining the. Oh, well, if you're talking about Tuesday, there wasn't a stream, but all right, let's see where our indicators set up. See if that changes our minds on anything. Be careful with this downside plan, just the way Neptune's setting up there. Let's see if we've got, well, 333 confluence on the 4-hour, break below. Let's see what the 15 looks like. Yeah, you know what? I think we're good. Just be a little bit conscientious of this 273.53 level. As we break below 279.15, I would move my stops up at that point to 279.15 from the 289.86 original stop level. And then play for your downside targets. That's one kind of little nuance, caveat, whatever you want to call it, that I would just want to put out there to try to help you guys with executing this plan correctly or safely, as safe as possible. Nothing's truly safe in the world of options. Okay, cool. I'm happy with it. So let's talk through this real quick. DB live stream plan. All right, there's that in the chats. Here it is over in the Discord and the live stream. So, what are we looking for here on, I'm sorry, in the watch list, options watch list and Xtrades, in the Xtrades Discord? What are we looking for here on MDB? There could be a big move if this thing can break over this 298.24 weekly resistance. That could bring us a price target up to 322.51 as our first price target. One thing I'll throw out there, don't be shy to take some profits around this 312.20 level, but there is a pretty large area where lots of fair value gaps have formed between 298.24 and that 322.51. So if history is any indicator of what can happen, this could be a massive move over 298.24, but don't get greedy, especially if it's a fast move up to 312.20 and things get overextended. Maybe scale some out. If you get an opportunity to on a back test, go ahead and add those positions back in. Just a couple of thoughts on how this might play out. Over 322.51, we're then looking for 333.03. Man, that sounds like my favorite moving average. And then on up to 342.13 with a stop loss average down at 286.30. That's your upside trade plan for MDB. Downside, I just realized I let this get a little off. We're looking for a break below 279.15 that should bring targets at 266.90. Don't forget to move your stops up on the tested 273.53. Next target 256.89 and final target 246.73 with a stop loss average down at 289.86. Those are your MDB trade plans. All right, so let's see. Actually took a nice W with APLD. Nice, good stuff. Yeah. Wonky is just the best word I could come up with for some of that price action I was looking at in that range. It was just really throwing me off. All right, so Ryan wants to take a look at Neo. That's always been a debate of mine. I think we settled on Neo though. Neo, Mara, QQQ. Let's take a look at. I haven't looked at this in a long time. This could be a good one to trade shares on too. It is a Chinese stock. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but I mention it in the context of lots of gaps, right? Gaps up, gap down. Those happen pretty regularly with these Chinese tickers because their heavy trading hours are when our extended hour sessions have totally cut themselves off. So there's really no U.S. trading happening at that point. So lots of gaps up and gaps down, Neo, Baba, any of those Chinese ticker, XPEV, any of those can be, just big moves up and down because of the heavy volume and the majority of the trading is happening outside of the U.S. market hours. I was going to say I'm super perplexed that I'm not seeing any support resistance levels. I swear I've charted Neo down in this range before, though. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Maybe I'm totally misremembering that. Okay, well, that's all right. That gives us something to work on. And again, this could be a good one. I picked this one because, for those of you working with smaller accounts, this could be a great one to trade shares on. For those of you looking to maybe buy something as a cheaper long-term investment. Isn't Buffett like crazy bullish on, he's crazy bullish on one of the Chinese EVs. I forget if it's Neo, but I think he's got a bunch of shares in Chinese EV maker. Or no, he's got it in BYD or something like that, doesn't he? Yeah, BYD. Yeah. That's what it is. It jumped into my brain as soon as right before you guys chimed in. I was like, what is it? I know he's got a stake in something, but he likes Chinese EV makers, so that is something interesting to keep on watch. Yeah, BYD. Yep. I corrected myself. Just took me a minute. All right, so interesting level here on the weekly. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's one of those things. It's like collective consciousness, right? It's almost like as soon as somebody Googled and found the answer, it popped into my head before anybody typed it, or at least before I saw anybody had typed it. It's like somebody figures out a new technique for something in one part of the world, and it's not that too much longer after that than a totally different part of the world that same breakthrough happens with no information being shared between the two. Kind of interesting stuff that you can get into if you like to think a little bit more about consciousness and quantum physics and stuff like that, which just interesting reads. Nothing I'm like a heavy prescriber to. Just interesting stuff. All right. That's great. Strife, Armageddon, and Deep Impact coming out at the same time almost. I mean, right? We just want to get hit by we spent that whole year just wanting to get hit by a fucking asteroid. Yeah, that's pretty funny. All right. Neo. Are you the one? Let's find out. Daily level sitting right there. Where are we at? 9:05. We got time. If Nvidia falls 10 points and nobody's watching, did it happen? Like if a tree's in the falls in the forest and nobody's there to hear, it doesn't make sound. The stock market's not real. It's the Matrix. All right. All I'm kind of realizing, chart looks a little bit like the Matrix. It's not intentional, but now that we're talking about it, I guess I'd need like black candles too, but those would be invisible candles on the black background, so that wouldn't work. And again, kind of the same thing, right? We're going to use our technical term wonky. There's just some wonky price action. I think that's a little bit less to do with, I mean, some to do with the range, but also to do with the fact that, again, this is a ticker that trades heavily outside of the US market hours. So that's, there are probably some really nice wicks and stuff like that that would help me find these levels faster that we just can't see. I'm sure there is a way to pull up the like Chinese. Probably have to pay for another market data feed or something like that, but curious to know. I'm sure there's a way to do that. I've never looked into it just because I don't trade Chinese stocks heavily. Again, that's not an assessment of China, but an assessment of I don't like being trapped in positions that can make big moves, and there's nothing I can do about it. that's kind of my big concern with Chinese stocks. My personal risk tolerance. Yeah. I feel like we are butting up against some kind of a support resistance here pre-market. Sitting right about there. All right, let's get to this hourly chart. Let's kind of move this forward. Get this ball rolling. Let's throw these indicators back on for a second. Might help find some confluences that we'll want to pay attention to. All right. So what I'm looking at, I don't love that rejection right there. It's kind of a pretty prolonged consolidation against resistance. Was consolidation of support right around that level. I think a little bit with these Chinese names, you kind of have to sort of say, okay, I'm like, I have to assume a little bit, and this is very specific to Chinese stickers, that like even when you're coming short of a touch, maybe if we had the full picture, we'd see those touches playing out nicely and cleanly. Same thing with this 454 level. Question is, do we wait for 471 to break and use 454 as our stop loss? That's also an interesting level. It's a little bit, well, it could be more like that. Yeah, okay, all right. Huh. Let's take a shot at it. I might be coming with my apologies next Tuesday and saying I got us into this too early and we should have waited for. Wait a second. No, never mind. This is actually the setup I was liking better. I just realized. Sorry. Got my levels switched up there for a second. So yeah, I think over 471, we're taking a shot at that 504 level. Over that, definitely be interested in 537. That's weird. I've had addresses at both 504 and 537. Street numbers. Part of the matrix. It's a glitch. Let's drop this. In fact, this weekly level looks like it might actually be a little bit off. I think it does sit more like right here at 564. I don't think we need another level there. I think that becomes our third price target to the upside. We've got our stop loss average down situated. Let's see what we've got for potential downside. This would definitely be our first price target. On a break below 426. Yeah, stop loss on this one. Yeah, that's kind of where I was looking anyway. Whoops, grab that line. Thank you. Damn it. All right, stop loss on that. It's going to sit there. PT1 there, PT2, this weekly level, PT3. Let's see. Downside, third price target. Going to be a fill in the blank. I'm guessing, unless we identify a move all the way down to 319, which is possible. Hang on, we're going to have to go bigger time frame, or I'm going to be searching for this level all day. Here we go. Yeah, it's a little bit higher. Sitting right around this 340 level. That's where I'd have my third price target. Could go as low as 319, but let's not be too greedy. You got to take those profits out and put them into the next trade. That's how we make our accounts grow quickly. Little growth spurt for the account, shift in wins. You know, put 500 into a trade, take 750, put it into the next trade. You book profit on your 500 trade, and all of a sudden your trade sizes that started with 500 become 5,000 very quickly. All right, so here are the Neo trade plans, live stream plans, I should say. Shit. Give me the link. There we go. All right, so let's get this posted throughout all the channels. So what are we looking for here on Neo? We're looking for a break over 471. That should give us targets at 504, 537, and 564, with a stop loss average down at 454. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 426. That should give us targets at 397, 370, and 340, with a stop loss average down at 445. Those are your Neo live stream plans, upside and downside. For more downside or a huge bounce on coin, let's see what Chris is on to with coin. We'll take a quick look at it. Maybe not a full trade plan. because we are getting close to 15 minutes to market open, which means I need to get to work on the daily SPY plan. Yeah, coin looks like it wants to break down hard to me. I mean, it never even really got close to reclaiming bullishness on the 4-hour at least. Let's take a look at the hourly. It's flipped a couple of times, but weak continuation after that, I would say. And only once on the hourly chart since July has it spent any significant amount of time above the moving averages there. Let's see if 161.52. Yeah, below that 161.52, there's downside coming. That looks like it's holding though. There could be a big bounce coming. I have a feeling that's why I highlighted that line yellow, because it's a pretty key level. So yeah, keep that 161.52 on watch. We're definitely flirting with a break below here pre-market. I think upside looks even better over 169.02, but that starts to show signs of all the dips are being bought up right at or below this level. Buyers could be stepping in and trying to push this one higher. If you see it break down below that, watch out below. All right, with that, I want to thank you guys for joining me, and also thank you again for being patient and understanding with me not being able to knock out a live stream on Tuesday. Again, that migraine was one of the, I think, maybe the worst I've ever had. So anyway, I appreciate you guys understanding, and I appreciate, again, everybody who reached out while I was down on Tuesday to say, get well soon. Happy to be back. Looking forward to a full week of live streams next week, Tuesday and Thursday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So with that, I want to give you guys the best advice I can give any trader, which is plan your trades, trade your plans, go out there and get some green, keep your wins big, keep your losses small, have yourselves a great day. I will see you guys in the chats. And I will see you guys next week here on the FOMO live stream Tuesday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great weekend. Talk to y'all soon.